The greatest Royal Rumble is a little over 7 days away, and we won't be going over the matches that have been affected by the Superstar Shakeup. Not yet as of late. We will on a later date, but until like the final card is kind of made up here. But for completion's sake and just for continuality, we will talk about the matches that are affected by the Superstar Shakeup, but we will not change a prediction or anything like that. Because honestly, these are probably going to stay the same. For example, for the Intercontinental Championship ladder match, Fatal 4-Way, The Miz is on SmackDown. Finn Balor remains on Raw. The Intercontinental Champion, Seth Rollins, remains on Raw. And Samoa Joe remains on SmackDown. As far as this one, like I said, Rollins will more likely retain, or Joe would take it to SmackDown. The SmackDown tag titles are the same because no one went to Raw. But this is the other way around for the Raw tag team title match because the Bar will face, I guess, what we can call the Woken Warriors, Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. The Bar are going to SmackDown. So technically, the Raw tag titles could potentially go to SmackDown, which would be very weird, to be honest. Because of that, this is very simple. Hardy and Wyatt will become tag champs. And, you know, there has been rumors of Bray turning on Bray turning on Hardy and becoming the leader of Sanity for some reason. But Sanity are on SmackDown now, so that is not going to happen, unfortunately, unless you cross-branded it somehow. So I feel like the Bar would lose this match, but would be right in the SmackDown tag title contention, because it would, you know, they are the SmackDown tag titles and the Raw tag titles for a reason. They are on those brands, and I don't believe you could just put them on the different shows, because I don't think WWE would want to work like that. You can do it with the United States and the Intercontinental, for example, which we'll get to in a little bit. But the fact is, you know, these are the Raw tag titles and the Raw Women's title, etc. You know, even the Universal title is a red strap. You cannot take that to SmackDown unless you change it to a blue strap. There's no way around that. There is no way around that because this is their titles for that show. I mean, I can't make this any simpler than it is. So, and sure, you could give them a rematch clause at Backlash or something, and they win them back at Backlash if the Bar were to win it. But I don't feel they'll do that. Next, the United States Championship. SmackDown's Jeff Hardy, and the new champion, by the way, faces the former champion who is now on Raw, Jinder Mahal. Mahal has his rematch clause and will effectively do it in kind of home territory, kind of, because, you know, per se, because if you really want to associate the Indians and the Muslims and put them together, technically that would be correct, but I wouldn't do that personally. But, you know, it's kind of more of a Middle Eastern crowd, so they might associate with Jinder, so you could have technically a home field advantage for Jinder. It would be the perfect spot for him to do that. With that being said, though, I don't think they would make Jinder the champion again, unless the goal was to unify the United States Intercontinental titles, which has been talked about for years, but has never happened. I mean, it's happened during the Invasion angle, but that was when it was still the WCW US title, and that you had to unify them at that point, but you didn't really have to unify them, but, you know, just for the continuality of having one true champion, especially during the Survivor Series with winner take all, basically all the titles, with the exception of the WCW title and the WWF title, and potentially light heavyweight, hardcore, all that shit, European, all that, would be under one brand at that point. You might as well unify the tag titles and all that. So, but the point I'm making here is, unless you're going to unify the United States title to the Intercontinental title, it would make no sense to make Jinder the champion again. So I think Hardy would win, and Hardy's on SmackDown now. So he's not really Woken anymore. He's just Jeff Hardy. He's just doing stuff. And just doing flippy shit and just doing stuff. That's what he does. And that's what's probably going to happen. Now, as far as the Royal Rumble is concerned, there are no new names as of late. But there is one thing. Chris Jericho is no longer in the casket match, and we'll get to that in a second. But he is part of the Royal Rumble. So I will say now that he's not in the Rumble, Jericho would have a better chance of winning because he's not in the fucking casket match that he would have to win to be eligible. Because technically, if you're thinking about it, you're in a casket match. What if you don't get taken out of the casket? You just stay in there and you lose your entry at that point. That could potentially happen. So I'm glad that Jericho's not in that match, even though it would have been a great match, and I'm kind of disappointed about it, and we'll get to that in a second as well. But as far as the Rumble, Jericho is really the only new person, technically. The WWE Championship rematch will be at the Greatest Royal Rumble as AJ Styles defends against the man who somehow no longer knows English, Shinsuke Nakamura. It was very, very odd seeing Nakamura low blow AJ, and what would have been a great moment, just having them embrace it, having the mutual respect, and then that happens. So, it's great though. I won't lie. It's great having him somehow not learn English again, somehow forgetting it after 2 years in NXT, and then a year or so in the main roster now, kind of. Technically, yeah, about a year. So, if you think about it, it's just probably the best way you could turn Shinsuke heel if you really wanted to go that way. And it's more of comedic than anything. So, I'm gonna go with. I don't know. I want Shinsuke to be the champion, but I'm gonna go with AJ just because I don't think they would do it. I don't think they would have the balls to make Shinsuke the champion. I just don't think they would do it. I would love it, but I don't think they would do it. And when we come back, we will talk about the match. And you'll know which one I'm talking about, because this is just kind of dumb. But it's a thing, so we'll get to it.